This is The Spotlight, where we turn the spotlight on the arts. I'm Kevin Perry, your host for the show, and we want to welcome you to another exciting season of the best in arts and education entertainment here for St. Lucie Public Schools. We have two awesome guests that have also been on the spotlight previously. But before we do that, we want to remind you that you have many opportunities throughout the course of this entire year to see our students perform. And they would love to have you in the audience rooting and cheering them on, giving them what all of us root for, that applause. But during this time, it's football season, so every Friday night at one of our stadiums, the Lawnwood Stadium, Port St. Lucie High School Stadium, or our South County Stadium, you can come and see our halftime performances by the awesome high school bands. But as we start this edition of The Spotlight, we turn to our wonderful guests, Withaker and Allison Barajas. Welcome back to The Spotlight.
Thanks, glad to be here.
Thank you.
Just in case we have some viewing audience that don't know who you two wonderful ladies are, would you please introduce yourself to our audience, and please make sure that you tell us a little bit about your background.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Jane.
Sure.
Yes, I'm Allison Barajas. I have been in St. Lucie Public Schools for 12 wonderful years now. Previously, coming here from New York. I do have a performing arts background. I was the drama director at Lincoln Park Academy, as well as Treasure Coast High School, and I've also taught visual arts at Sam Gaines Academy. So I had a wonderful experience, as a classroom teacher, and was able to get the opportunity to come to the district office here in the Office of Teaching and Learning and work as a professional developer, a role that I absolutely love. And I get to work with Jane.
Yep. We have a great time together. Learned lots from each other.
Absolutely.
I've been in the district since 1999, so quite a while, so going on my 16th year. And my area of focus was elementary education, and I started in the district at Village Green Elementary, way down south, and taught there for a few years. And then I went to Allapattah Flats when it opened in 2007, and then finished before I came to the district office. I was at Fairlawn teaching elementary music, and again, like she said, had the privilege of coming to the district office to begin working with teachers and really focusing on building the arts. So we get to work as a team and really try to provide support. So very excited about our role and really enjoying it.
So you both have an arts background. Before we talk about what you're really doing right now, do you still get an opportunity to kind of dibble-dabble in the arts?
Well, I really believe that teaching is so aligned to what, the concept of the arts, especially the performing arts. Just that authentic interaction with the audience, which is our students in the classroom. And we get to work with adult learners now. So I truly feel that what we do, we get to design the learning, and we often talk about it as a theatrical sort of analogy. So how are we going to open? How are we going to keep the engagement? How are we going to make the teachers connect, really make it meaningful? So I feel like what we do is very creative, and we still get to have that sort of creative energy. But as you might know, we're also in the planning phases for a St. Lucie Public School. I see you smiling.
I know where you're going.
Yeah. One of the stars. St. Lucie Public Schools faculty and staff cabaret performance to benefit, students and teachers, some of our grants. So we're going to be doing that in the spring, and we're going to be singing and performing and sharing the talents of many, many teachers and district staff that many people might not know have an amazing talent on the stage.
Jane, are you doing anything artsy right now?
Well, again, I think a lot of, like what Allison said, so much of what we do is very much a part of that creativity side that we have, that I don't think that ever goes away. But I actually last night had a chance to work with one of our high school students getting ready for an audition at PSL. So I got to work with her and work on her vocals and, work on some strategies to really strengthen her voice. So I still get my little dabble in there every once in a while, and I still teach at the college. So as an adjunct, so I still kind of have my hands in there a little bit. And again, working with Allison, being a part of the STEAM initiative, the STEAM rap battle will be coming up.
Absolutely, that's
so
right.
that's something that she oversees. So we still get our hands in there a little bit, and
Great.
so yeah, we enjoy it.
Great, great. Okay, Allison, please share with us, because we're here today to talk about the role of a professional developer, which is what these beautiful young ladies do at this time to help move education forward here in St. Lucie County. But please share with us a description of your general role as a professional developer.
Absolutely.
What that entails.
One of the reasons I love it so much is because we do get to do such a diverse array of work and projects in our role. Jane mentioned STEAM, but I'll tell you that as a professional developer, we are first and foremost, we serve and support our teachers so that they can be the best instructional, craftspeople, really. We help them develop their craft in any way that we possibly can so that they can be the best to deliver the highest quality learning to students. And that comes in many forms. We have special sessions and workshops on very specific strategies, such as thinking maps, these visual languages for learning, which is very artistic. We do things like CHAMPS training, which is behavioral strategies and support. PBS, positive behavior support, our quality framework for teaching and learning, which is all those strategies that occur in the classroom, from relationships to how to introduce goals, to helping students track where they are, to fabulous group work. So everything that happens in the classroom, we think about that, and each individual teacher has their own special strengths and needs. So we really promote the growth mindset.
Okay.
A fixed mindset, that's where you believe that learning has stopped. So a growth mindset, we promote that in teachers and saying, you are experts and you shine in many, many ways individually, and we want you to share that, but let's also know that we have so many ways that we can grow and continue to learn. So we do trainings at the district, at schools. We go out and work with individual teachers. We support new teachers. The possibilities are really endless, and we're able to work with leaders in our department that really allow us to explore some of the ideas that we have and the ways we can support. And I'll just say finally that it's very special that in St. Lucie Public Schools, we have the support of our board, of our district leaders, and really the community to have people like us in roles that we are in.
Great.
So that it's not just what sometimes is considered that core content. We believe the arts is core content.
Great segue. Jane, tell us, as a professional developer that Allison has so greatly described, how does that role transfer into the work that you do with arts-related professionals?
Well, we know that just through research, a lot of times that we come across just in some of the events that we prepare for and presentations, that we know that the arts really reach kids in a non-traditional fashion, and some students who may not be as successful in the traditional classroom per se are going to thrive in the arts classroom and make those connections that really go cross-curricular. And having the ability to do that, to reach a kid that maybe a traditional setting wouldn't be able to motivate and make connections like we're able to is really tremendous. And when we're in the classroom, it also gives us an opportunity to work with administrators as well, because in the arts classroom, as they're working with teachers, it may look a little different when they go in to provide, let's say, a teacher evaluation type of situation, and giving them the opportunity to share. This is what it looks like. This is what they're making connections of our best practices. And really modeling. We're able to go in and model, work with lesson plans. We're able to still get our creative juices going because we get to pull from, our past experiences as educators and fine arts educators to really strengthen across the district. So it's really fun what we get to do.
Can you both kind of explain to us what professional development is provided to arts teachers, and when they're in these professional developments, how do they do their work?
Well, we've had experiences seeing that, we work with all subject areas, and
all subject areas meaning?
Well, we work with all subject areas as professional developers: math, reading, science, technology, foreign language, physical education. And Jane and I, sort of under our umbrella, come a lot of those resource classes that have those unique complexities that, like being on a wheel in elementary. Jane knows better than anyone. But when we get arts teachers together, I will say that 100% of the time, we are blown away by their enthusiasm and the drive that they have. They always take it so far beyond what we have planned and what we have our highest expectations. When they get together, they are on a mission. And Jane just did, we just had a professional development day in August for collaborative planning district-wide, where teachers get together and plan. And I was working more with some technology teachers, but Jane really was working hands-on with the arts teachers. So maybe you could talk about that.
So when we met, it was great because we had a chance to work together as a whole group with, we had PE teachers across district, and then all of the fine arts. So we had band, elementary music, art, you worked with technology.
Drama and dance.
Drama and dance, thank you. And then we were able to divide up into small groups and really center in on their content, because a lot of the time at their schools, they're what we call a singleton. They're the only person teaching that, and to be able to work collaboratively with people that teach the same content can be challenging, just because of time and schedules. And this particular day was just so. It was so positive and just so upbeat, as Allison was saying. And what they created, they actually, each group created 3 lessons to share with each other to be used throughout the school year, and just great rapport, great insight, just sharing ideas, just so much energy and enthusiasm that was part of that when they are able to get together and really pull together that creativity.
So is this a one-time thing, or will they get together throughout the year for additional training and
right now, we've actually been contacted by a few of the teachers that have decided they want to put together what we call learning communities. And learning communities, they meet once a month, and they meet as a similar group. So I know elementary music is getting ready to start theirs, and they meet at different school sites and then share lesson plans, share ideas, share new resources. So that'll be happening throughout the school year. And then we generally have professional development days throughout the year. So when there are opportunities, some of those professional developments are district-wide, where we actually are the ones helping provide those. And then there are other ones that are scheduled through the school. So the ones that are district-wide, we actually get another opportunity to get everyone together again. So it happens often through the school year.
So go ahead.
And I'll say too, if you're in the audience and wondering, the viewing audience, well, what really does that look like? What does that mean? Imagine a group of teachers, high school visual arts teachers, and it's not just them talking about, well, let's do something creative. Let's have them do a painting. Okay, well, what are we going to tell them to do? No, it's teachers, professional educators sitting with their standards, with scales for learning and the exact goals that we want students to have, standards-based goals. It's their resources. It's research that they bring to the table. So while they are creative individuals, and the subject is arts, they are of the same mindset that we are teachers, and we have to bring standards and research and specific strategies that highlight learning. So you might wonder what it looks like to plan as an arts teacher, and it looks very much like any subject area.
And the other thing that I wanted to kind of pop in there too is that we're not limited just to the arts. We teach English, we teach math,
Absolutely.
we teach science, we teach history. All of those are encompassed in what we do, and I think sometimes people forget those connections really come together.
So what you're telling me is that if I'm in a planning session with the music, art, dance, and drama, there may be some standards from English or from math or from science that may be incorporated into their learning, their lesson planning for their
Absolutely.
students in math, in band class or in chorus class. It could have something about science, which could be vibrations, could be have something. Am I
Absolutely.
okay? So-
More often than not, that is the case. There definitely are those other subject area standards in our lessons.
So after your training and all of this collaboration with these teachers over, if I were to visit an arts teacher's class after the training, what would I expect to see as a result of, or what could I see as a result of this training?
Well, I definitely think a lot of the direct implementation of what was gathered through that collaborative planning. First and foremost, you know, we stress the standards-based instruction. So much of what they created in collaborative planning was based around that. So the first thing that you should see when you walk in is the expectation of the day. What's that learning goal? What's the target? And having the students be able to reiterate that to you, that they understand what that expectation is for the day, which is exactly what you would see in the regular classroom, in the content classrooms. So when we start with the learning goal and we provide feedback, we're going to be looking for the exact same things and expect high expectations that you would see in any subject area. So
Definitely.
Okay, Allison, we hear a lot, and you alluded to it earlier, we hear a lot about standards and standard-based instruction. How is this applicable to the arts teachers and the work that they do?
So just like Jane was saying too, the goals that they would give a student at the beginning of the day. Well, that is completely, we intentionally, deliberately, and very thoughtfully create those goals with the arts teachers that if you walk into a high school ceramics class at one school, they're using the same goal, perhaps through a little bit of a different material or technique. They're using the same goal as if you would walk into that classroom at another school. Excuse me. But it's so that everything we do is aligned to those overarching standards, whether it be a global connection, whether it be knowing about specific techniques and materials, so that they leave the classroom really prepared to talk about the arts and about themselves as real artists, so that it's not just projects and crafts, so that those standards, imagine going to a fine arts program in college where you don't just sit and paint, you have to learn the basics about color theory and the history and your tools, and you practice and refine. So the standards, no matter what subject in St. Lucie Public Schools, the standards are non-negotiable. That is the basis for where we start all planning.
Okay. Keeping this idea about standards, Jane, would you please just give us a overall arching kind of basic definition of what standards are? And then my follow-up to that is, haven't we always had standards, especially in the arts?
absolutely. And, you know, being an arts person, we know when our students get ready to go to competitions, into solo and ensemble, marching band, we've worked with rubrics for years and years and years. I don't remember ever not having standards to meet as a performance type situation. So absolutely, those rubrics have been part of what we've done forever. When we talk about standards, standards are the driving force of our instruction. They provide guidance. They allow us to hit targeted areas to make specific goals and strategies for students, whether it be through, let's say for elementary music, we would have observation type things, giving the students opportunities to watch and learn through visual. We would have technique type standards that we would use with the students, giving them that hands-on opportunity. So it's a huge gamut of goals that we follow in order to get us from the beginning of the school year to the end. And what we want is our end result. What do we want as our final product, and what our students learn, and our high expectations. And typically what we have always done as arts people is we work from the performance backwards. And so much of what we do, even in the traditional classroom, is what we call backwards design. That end result, here's where we want our kids to be. How are we going to get there? And then we back up from that to guide us in our instruction.
So true.
But fine arts has always done that.
Absolutely.
And so it's interesting that has really come full circle, into the traditional classroom, because that's what we do.
So could we say that the standards basically tell us what kids are supposed to know and be able to do?
Right.
You've got it.
And then the rubrics are measures
Exactly.
of how capable the
How
level
they've
of
mastered.
how they've mastered.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so for example, like a rubric is like a table, and we ask students to think specifically, and it really helps them in other classes as well. So that if you were doing a drama monologue, your rubric might have vocal production, movement on the stage, having a true beginning with an arc and an ending.
Keep going, because
So-
that was my next question. What does a lesson in the arts look and sound like? Because what I'm hearing you say is that I have a football game on Friday night, so I'm teaching band. So I have standards that tell me how I need to get my band ready for the performance, and my rubrics are my measures about how well they're going
Yes.
to
Yes.
perform, so that as a band director, I can have something about rhythm.
Sure.
I can have a standard about intonation. I can have a definition about movement, a standard about movement. So not only am I teaching one standard, I often have overlapping standards that drive it.
Yes. So you might have a standard about performing on the stage for theater, and then it's this big, broad topic, and then it gets more and more granular. So like you said, under that is a monologue, and under that monologue is knowing how to produce vocally, like I said. But then within that, there are many more granular pieces. So vocal production, the student needs to know that's inflection, that's enunciation, that is breath. So the standard guides us to all those small nuances that we teach students and we prepare them with. Jane, did you have something else to add?
I think too, just as she's talking, when they look at those rubrics as that guide, it's also expanding their vocabulary and really learning just a tremendous amount of new thoughts and new ideas that really support it. So not only are those standards, guiding the instruction portion of it, but it's opening those doors with, all the just amazing things that they're learning. So
Let me quickly move on so that we don't run out of time, because there are a couple of other things that I want to hit. There's this idea of EOC. Tell our parents, our viewing audience, what EOCs are and what they do for the arts. Just jump in.
Well, EOCs is something that I've been spending the last year on. So right now we're just working on, their EOC stands for end of course exam. And you know that, again, as part of our standards as a state, that there are requirements that we have to follow, and part of that is providing an accountability system. And right now, we know we have the FSA exams. FCAT is what most people would relate to, because FSA is a new term for us. But our Florida Standards Assessment, and again, those follow under our science, our math, or our science is still new generation standards, so it's just a little bit different. But English, reading, and math, those are our standard assessments that we know every student has to take. Well, the state believes that we want to show that our particular content area is just as important and just as valuable, and those accountability opportunities really provide us to show what our students are learning and how well they're learning. And so what we've done as a state is brought in the need for an EOC for PE.
Okay.
Right now we're working on elementary because middle school and high school are still able to use their semester exams as part of their end of course exams. Elementary is a little bit different. So our students are going to be preparing to take an EOC in the spring. And last year we actually piloted it in several schools just to see how our students fared, and they did extremely well. So now we're excited that this will be cross-district.
So for our viewing audience, the EOC's end of course exams are replacing the FCAT that many people know basically.
Well, it's not necessarily replacing it per se. It's because the FSA will actually be the test that will replace
the
that.
EOCs lead into the FSA.
There you go.
There.
So not really in place of, but leading at kind of in addition to. I guess that's a better way to say it. So following the assessment that we have in the spring, then students will have a window of testing time in May, and then the fine arts will be able to prove how well our students are doing and how well they're faring.
So we have this EOC, which could be an end of course exam in math, but it leads into an FSA, which could be encompassing of all math standards that could have been taught in that class, in that specific course,
Right.
or multiple of math courses.
Correct.
Cool, cool. Now, I have a short time. There's a lot of research that talks about the arts and why they are important to a child's education. Briefly, because we only have about 2 minutes, kind of tell our parents, our viewing audience, what this research talks about and why it's important, why the arts are important to a child's education, but also to a child's development period.
There's so much. I mean, we could do a whole show just about that.
Maybe we'll come back.
Yes, we can. I was just reading a study, a small study, brand new from Georgia. Jane, I think I'm going to share it with you for sure. It's about how, I'm so sorry, I have a cold, how music can increase the plasticity neurologically in high school students, so that we can see that music helps them understand language better and have that distinction, those language distinctions. It really goes beyond just more than creativity. It helps students incredibly.
Absolutely. And one of the research things, one of the research articles that I took a look at was from 2009, and it was I believe it was Stanford. It was either Stanford or Cambridge, but anyway, it was the correlation between years in the arts and SAT scores and what the correlation was. And they actually showed that students with 4 years of fine arts throughout their high school experience actually increased their SAT scores by 10%.
Wow.
So that correlation just says a lot. And then another research person that I always like to look at through the arts is Elliot Eisner, who he was very much a part of arts for the art's sake, not for any other reason, but for what it teaches the child. And
good judgment, teamwork, collaboration,
self-discipline,
yes.
problem solving, just so many different avenues that it provides. So being part of the arts is just a huge improvement and increase in student achievement.
Ladies, we never have enough time when we invite you to be our guest here on The Spotlight. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and joining us for another fantastic show here on The Spotlight, where we turn the spotlight on the arts, and we'll see you next month.